All right, here we are with another episode of the Iron Shepherds podcast. I'm pleased to be joined today by Tony Winders of the Winders Group. Tony, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me. And nice to see you.
Yeah, it's really nice to meet you. Got to know you a little bit off camera beforehand. Why don't you let our listeners and viewers know what the Winders Group is? I know you're fractional marketing, but it's I can't go much deeper than that.
Yeah, well, thanks. The Winders Group is a traditional agency structure, but we're also a marketing collective set up in kind of a traditional uh, methodology of how you'd think of working with a business to business marketing shop. But actually, let's start that over. Hit me up again on that question, Chris, because you can trim the
Okay.
front end. You can trim the front end of this, and just let's, if that's okay with you, whether you want to cut and return to and just start over, or you want to edit later. But I think I could do a much better job of opening that.
Okay. Let me see if I can ask the question. Let me
Yeah.
see if I can ask the question the same way.
Yeah, just start. Yeah, just yeah, you start from the top like you'd let in.
Okay, sure. This is fun. Okay, where did I say? Okay, all right. So we're back with another episode of the Iron Shepherds podcast. I'm fortunate to be joined by Tony Winders of the Winders Group today. Tony, how you doing?
Hey, Chris, thanks for having me on. Nice to see you.
Absolutely nice to meet you. Got to know you a little bit off camera. Why don't you tell us a bit about what the Winders Group does? I know you're fractional marketing, but I think you can clue us in a lot better on that.
Yeah, thanks. The Winders Group is a full service marketing agency, mostly serving business to business customers, mostly serving technology customers, and
Mhm.
structured like a traditional agency. But in reality, it's me, Tony Winders, the fractional chief marketing officer, and my army of contractors. So really what I'm doing is assembling virtual marketing teams or fractional marketing teams to get work done for customers that either need overflow for their marketing departments, or they're far enough along to have a go-to-market need, but not ready to hire a vice president of marketing. They can tap into my senior marketing expertise, and then I assemble the teams to get work done across all different channels and tactics: paid, owned, and earned media, and inside of those channels like LinkedIn and a lot of LinkedIn, but just social generally, email, media relations, advertising, paid media, creative. We build a lot of sites. We do some brand identity work from time to time. We're a HubSpot shop, so we're doing a lot of demand generation and lead gen and helping sales organizations grow. But fundamentally, we just meet our customers where they are, and we love to partner with sales leaders. And kind of, I believe that marketing lives to serve sales, and so I love meeting sales leaders that understand the value of marketing, and I partner with them to take their product to market and position it first and foremost through strategy and market kind of understanding and product market fit and audience dynamics, and then build the content that tells that story and building brand narrative on those paid, owned, and earned channels and pushing it into market through campaigns of all kinds.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that you could have any like run a wide spectrum? Somebody might come to you and say, "Hey, Tony, we really need help with our email marketing. Can you help us there?" All the way through, Tony, we have no marketing. I need content generation. I need creative. We're going to send you a bunch of clothes, and I need them photographed. I mean, is is it all of the above?
Yeah, we're really resourceful that way. I mean, it's sort of like, I guess it brings up the idea of specialist versus generalist. And I'm a generalist by design. I am admittedly a mile wide and an inch deep. And I can say that with a straight face and still have a lot of credibility because I'm not the specialist doing the work. I go to my network and I pull the team together, and that's the value I'm adding as a fractional and as a collective, is that you come to the Winders Group because my name's on the door. I care a lot. I'm going to take good care of my clients, and I love bringing the work to the freelance marketing professionals who are those specialists in design or just creator economy types of marketing, or just search engine optimization, like, or a specific type of design or video production. That's what keeps it interesting for me too. I love bringing work to these people, and I love telling stories for brands in different ways, and it just keeps it lot. It's really fun. I mean, it's the group for a reason. It's the Winders Group, so I'm proud to have my name on the door, but truly it's about the group and the collective and my ability to bring these people together. I'm a connector by nature and just really enjoy working with people and dipping into all these different industries and these management teams and leadership styles and learning all the tools of marketing. And so that's just a little finger on the pulse of kind of how we work and how I tick and what I'm up to.
Yeah, that it's interesting as a total aside to anything we were talking about, but I do remember years ago Jimmy Kimmel when he was Jimmy the sports guy on K-Rock. He actually said that he started really noticing success not so much doing things directly for people, but connecting people. Hey, I need to know somebody who does this. Well, I actually happen to know somebody who does that, and you make two friends in the process, and that kind of expanded his success.
Yeah, that's neat. I never knew that story, but I'm a natural born connector, and it just comes so naturally to me that I enjoy it a lot. And I've made a lot of introductions, and I enjoy hosting events and attending events, and it's just, people who know me will not be surprised by any of that. And if you've ever been at an event with me, you also know that I'm likely to ask to get a picture with you or of you because I'm a shutterbug like that. And that's one way that I also connect people, is that afterward I'll send that picture of us together. And I've got hundreds of thousands of those from events over the years. So that's just all part of, I'm a service guy, so I'm only really as strong as my network, and so I've really invested in that over the years, and I'm proud of that. And now I'm really getting to leverage that in creative ways.
Yeah, that's really smart. So, how long have you done the Winders Group, and did you come from a corporate marketing world that you decided to get out there? How did that transformation go?
I did. Well, the Winders Group, I started in 2017. My last corporate
Okay.
job was in 2012 with Gum Gum, which is still in the market as a digital advertising and computer vision company. But that I helped put Gum Gum on the map as their first head of marketing. And then I was consulting after that, and consulting just felt a little transient. I enjoyed it, but I could only handle one or two clients at a time, and the average length of a client wasn't as long as I wanted it to be. And I just shifted the lens slightly to call it an agency. And I'm still doing the same thing. I'm dropping into companies and consulting for them and either managing their resources or bringing in my own to assemble the right team of people to get the work done. But it was interesting how just that subtle shift from consultant to agency, and then later on, I mean, we were, kind of early to the distributed sort of fractional marketing game and the virtual only type of agency structure. And so, of course, none of that's a big deal or surprising to anyone now. But pre-COVID, it was slightly unusual for its time, and so now we're just really good at it. And I wake up in the morning and kind of work from India through Europe across the US, and sometimes I even end up in Australia by the evening. So it's I get to work all around the world and multiple time zones a day, and just enjoy talking to people and getting the work done. And I don't know, it's a little off of your question, but the history
Nice.
before that, well, I came out of entertainment publicity as a young man moving from Missouri to LA in 1990. So I started my career in entertainment PR with some old, colorful celebrity talent, and one of the last of the classic Hollywood press agents, Phil Palladino, was my mentor and my friend who brought me out here. He was my fraternity brother's uncle, and our clients were Zsa Zsa Gabor and Debbie Reynolds and
Oh
Rip
wow.
Tape and Valerie Harper and a slew of other kind of folks on the twilight of their careers like Palladino. And when he passed away, that in 93, that was around the time that I got the internet bug. And I started the first digital marketing agency in the world in May of 1995. It was called Interactive Agency Inc. And I did that up through the .com years, and then ended up winding that business down and joined an ad tech company when paid search was new, called Search 123. Helped them get
Mhm.
acquired by ValueClick, where I was the head of marketing for many years, and then later on to GumGum. So I kind of went from entertainment to ad tech to now another agency that is been mostly B2B historically, but we're taking on more consumer clients. I'm not limiting myself because I'm a marketing expert. And again, I've got access to all these talented people that I want to employ. We don't want to limit ourselves to anything. But I'll tell you, the ideal customer profile, though, for me, is the company where we can build the outsourced marketing department. I love that role where I'm the fractional CMO and we're kind of building all the different tools and the people and implementing the MarTech stack and working with leadership to help take a company to market. That's my favorite opportunity. But in between, as you mentioned, we're building lots of websites and doing one-off campaigns of varying kinds. So keeping busy over here at the group.
Right. So yeah, it sounds like in some of those areas, and I do know I've worked with several companies like this, is they don't really have anybody in house for marketing. So are you typically dealing with a founder, CEO, maybe head of sales? Is those are the people who, you're checking in with them, and then kind of running with the whole marketing piece?
You kind of nailed it. My buyer persona is the CEO with no marketing or the CMO who needs more hands on deck. And they'll typically hire us for one thing, just the HubSpot agency or just the creative agency or just the media buying shop or just PR. Whereas the CEO that has kind of he's got a sales guy and a deck and a product, and the salesperson's going like, what conference are we going to be at? And where's my collateral? So we like to step in and help in those situations too. So, and I like to help position companies and tell their story really, because I I think B2B marketing is hard, and we take some pretty complex stuff. I mean, we're working with AI companies and manufacturing companies and e-commerce and a lot of ad tech based on my background as well. And in the past, we've done a little bit of blockchain and crypto related projects. Companies that are in B2B tech especially usually they're very niche. None of them would likely be companies that you've even heard of, but everybody needs marketing. And so we're here to support at all levels. And one of the, again, generalist specialists, right? I get to see all these different areas, but but then again, the trade-off is that I'm not like known to be the guy for one industry, and that's okay. You come to the Winders Group because you know that we are very trained in our various disciplines and tactics. What I can't replace, I've learned, is 20 years of relationships and subject matter expertise. And for that, I rely on my clients, and we just partner with them to tell their story well.
Right. Going back to something you said earlier it was interesting to me. I think now if you go out to LinkedIn, you see a lot of people who are fractional CMO, fractional chief revenue officer, fractional this. And we've all become kind of used to, that exists sort of thing. And I couldn't have told you when that started, but it sounded like you were kind of tip of the spear in 2017. So how has that kind of changed? You also mentioned COVID. How has that changed from when you started out this kind of fractional idea to, uh, where we are today with that?
I think a lot of people just didn't want to go back to work after COVID, and I mean they used it as an opportunity as a jumping off point to be independent because they saw that it can be done, right? We can all, if you're disciplined enough to manage your own time, you can work from your home and be very successful at it. And really at the heart of it, I mean, I don't know, I feel like we're all just a loose knit group of adults winging it at the end of the day. And that's not really answering your question, but I find that I find that I'm part of a lot of loose knit networks and mesh networks of people that are overlapping is my point. Not that we're all
Hmm.
doing it. There's amazingly professional folks that just do amazing work and they know exactly what they're doing. obviously, but I think that it's definitely was. I definitely was. I think we were early, and it's not like it was the, as I like to say, we're not the first kind of independent like virtual agency. We're not the first collective, but there was something about the timing of how and when we did that that really worked, and I can't put a finger on it. I guess the common denominator of what we're doing is me, like, and as I said before,
Yeah.
I is my network, and no one can replace that. And I just really, I'm careful about the work I take on, and I vet the work, and I do that from both sides too, right? I have to make sure that the people I'm bringing the work to are going to get paid, and that they're going to enjoy the work, and that they're well suited, and that the client is going to take good care of them. Conversely, I have to represent to the clients that the people I'm working with, I've worked before. Or if I haven't, they've been well vetted. And that's a neat thing.
Yeah.
I'm getting to work with my friends too. That's been a lot of fun. It's just,
Right. So you were talking about how COVID, people didn't want to go back to work, and it kind of got my brain going.
uh
One of the things is after the pandemic, or I guess during the pandemic, and I was a work at home guy since 2000 probably, but I remember remarking to my sales team, we were all gathered together, and I said, it occurred to me the other day that just about every single phone call that I used to have, like a 10-minute call while I was changing planes in DFW, every single one of those has now turned into a 30-minute Zoom. But at the end of the day, I think that has helped this whole fractional economy, because now people aren't necessarily, you don't have to go sit in somebody's office to talk to them about, what their next HubSpot campaign is. You can actually manage all of these groups of people, right?
Yeah, I just follow the calendar. That's my main tool. I'll tell you that's what keeps it straight and helps manage my time to a point. But yeah, I remember not real. I was kind of at first. I was really didn't enjoy Zoom. I'm like, oh my God, I have to be on camera all the time, and that
Right.
was
For sure.
and that's kind of, I guess, when we started this business, we were using those tools, right? It was like, it was not forced upon me, but I do remember when I first used it, it was like, oh, I'm going to really have to get used to this, because I just didn't enjoy kind of seeing myself on camera. A lot of people don't, right?
Right.
But,
Yeah.
I like a lot of our behaviors have changed over these years, like not just
Yeah.
working at home, but like nobody wants to talk on the phone. You want to surprise somebody for their birthday, give them a phone call instead of
Right.
a Facebook, hello, right? Like I am old school like that, I guess. I still enjoy using the phone. It's a neat trick for young people
Right.
when like, why are you calling me? And on the flip side of that, like if it doesn't need a phone call, or a meeting, then don't take it. Use your
Right.
time more wisely than that. So I don't know. That's what
Right.
you brought.
I think this will tickle you. You talk about not wanting to be on camera, kind of in the early days of everybody adopting Zoom. I had always just had, if I was working at home and somebody would call me, I'd get up and I'd go in the backyard, I'd walk around, pet my dog, do whatever. And, I got a lot more steps in those days, but this was probably in 2021. We were in the middle of a Zoom meeting, and I just, AirPods in or whatever. I just got up out of my chair and went in my backyard and was walking around, but I forgot that I had been on camera. And so everybody's just like, okay, they're looking at my empty seat, but
That's funny.
I figured out how to chain myself in there.
Yeah, if I don't have to be in front of my screen to screen share or be on camera, I like to plan my day around a walk and talk. Like if I can see a meeting on schedule where I could take a mile walk around the neighborhood, then I just flip it to a phone call. Or you can take Zoom on your phone with you too, of
Yeah.
course. But ditto for working in the car too, for that matter. Like it's funny how fewer calls I'm making to people when I'm not driving to the west side from the LA suburb, because that I'd do my East Coast calls in the morning, and then my personal calls on the way home, and I was in touch with
Right.
a lot of people in different ways. So it, it's kind of an observation that I can make that changed. I was talking to somebody today who was like talking about how is now integrated into the car. So he's having a conversation with a generative AI and building plans. And by the time he gets to the office, he's got content that's ready to actually publish or to move to the next step, which I think is great. I used to do that in the car, but what I would do is if I had something to write, I'd just do audio input on Gmail. And so it wasn't pretty, but I was just dictating to myself. And at least I'd have a draft when I landed that I could actually edit something. So it's kind of funny how far we've come in just a couple of years.
Interesting. So you bring up AI, which obviously, as we talked outline, is near and dear to my life and to my business. And you said offline, you've already kind of gotten out in front of some of those AI tools. How would you say that they've changed and helped you in your business?
Well, they're just that. They're tools. I mean, I think we're not, no one's gonna, well, some people lose their jobs to AI, just the same way that we did really well through COVID while other industries didn't, And I think the people that are more likely to lose their job to AI are the ones that aren't embracing AI. It's right. It's the jobs are going to go to people who understand it and work with it because it is just a tool. And that's been my philosophy. Lean in or get eaten by it, honestly. I mean, it's the world is going to need creative people more than ever, not fewer, because AI, at least for the foreseeable future, runs on inputs, and even the outputs have to be polished and adjusted. And so it's like, yeah, it's gonna eliminate some jobs, but it's gonna create a bunch more. And so, like prompt engineering, right? I wouldn't tell a young person to go be a programmer these days. Like, but
Mhm.
imagine that's what you would tell kids 10 years ago, and a lot of them made out financially very well with that knowledge. So it's just things are just changing as a result of AI. So it's really been quite interesting for my business. I started by just doing the marketing services that I do for any type of tech industry for AI related clients. And in so doing, we started to use the tools and now we use them every day and we're building our own as well. We've created something we call the marketing brain, which is our AI that's trained. It's a database of content that we upload for each client at the Winders Group. Each client has their brain, and when we query that AI, it is only bringing back accurate answers that are always on brand, voice, and always accurate. And it's just a more efficient use of it. Just kind of makes the content we're creating for clients that much better.
Wow. So how did you go about building that yourself?
We actually, my head of content marketing was really a prompt engineer, and that's another thing that we're doing. We're doing very sophisticated prompt engineering under her leadership that is generating fascinating versions of content that are just not regurgitated chat GPT posts. It's like
Yeah.
we're using news monitoring and social media listening tools to find out what's actually being said in the market and then
Hmm.
create a prompt engineering stack that teases out of that information the most interesting thing in this what we call signals that would be of value to the audience our client serves. So we do that for ourselves. We do it for a number of clients, but I think prompt engineering and doing that for clients, I just sort of led us to naturally say, hey, we could do this for each client, and then we were just built tools to help ourselves and our business go faster. And then we were thinking, well, we could probably put a front end on this. And so we created a name called the Marketing Brain. And we're really not in market with it yet. We hope to be. But in the
Hmm.
meantime, it's just a practical tool that we're using. I don't profess to be able to compete with a lot of things that are out there necessarily, but
Sure.
because we're busy taking care of our clients right now, not being a MarTech company, but we're interested in partners that would help us take that to market. But it was my colleague and two other folks who formed a new business around that is how we did it. So we have an engineer that is one of our business partners on that project.
That's absolutely fascinating. I just, trying to go through it in my head while you're speaking, while also still listening to what what else you're saying.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the social listening, and I'm thinking, okay, before you did this, and you have kind of the connectors and the listeners out there, if you wanted to do that, you're probably going out to Insta, you're going out to Twitter, you're going out to Meta and all that stuff, and you're kind of scrolling through, right? And trying to figure out what is it that they're doing there. Then you have to try and decide in your brain, what does this really mean? So how many hours would you say, or what's the order of magnitude that this saves you?
I mean, in really, I don't know that it is measurable. It's so big, really. I mean, even on the not just social listening, but on news monitoring, you might, to your point, you might create a Google alert, right, for a particular category, but you still have to look at all that data and then infer what does it mean and how does it apply. And AI's ability to do that so quickly, and then for us to be able to polish it, I mean, it's so good on its own, but like it shouldn't be a secret that everybody has these tools and they're doing the AI. There's the Iron Shepherds.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Somebody must be walking by.
They're part of the podcast, man. No apology
Yeah,
necessary.
that's got to be the mailman.
Uh, anyway, the point I was gonna make to your is like it saves so much time. Like you just anybody that uses the tools, it saves time. My point is that what I was going with that is that no one should be ashamed to be using the tools of AI. They're just tools, and at the end of the day, I think I don't know. I feel like sometimes I'm cheating, but I'm not. At the end of the day, I created the things that I create with AI with my inputs, with my clients
Mm.
on things with their specialization, and I take those outputs and I package them so that they can be put into the campaigns and into the readership of those who would listen to it. And so if it's well written and it got done faster, who cares? It's like, yeah, we use AI unapologetically every single day, and it's saving. I don't know. I don't even think of it as saving time so much as helping us get more done. It's like I don't
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I think, as much as I ever hate answering my own questions, but as I heard you speaking
Wait.
through there, it's not saving time as much as it's making something possible that you would have never been able to do before,
Yes, that's a great way to put it. It's just,
or
it's
you
so
would have just needed to hire too many people.
right. Right. And that's what we did. Like we're a content marketing shop. And I used to have a half dozen writers on staff and I don't have any now. I keep that, I keep the right, I'm a good editor and a good writer. And so I can keep that work for myself, not have to hire that particular role. And when I need a good writer, I've got a bench of writers that get the call, right? It's not like we never need a good writer. It's just that
Right.
for the kinds of LinkedIn and the bloggy kind of content and SEO content, these tools do a remarkable job and they are exponentially kind of taking our clients forward. I mean, SEO is a great example. Client that we create 200 new pages a month, and in addition we publish 30 blog posts per month for one
Wow.
client every month. And that's because if you do that with authority and expertise and it's well written and it's kind of architected properly in a site structure, more is more. Like more quality content actually generates better SEO, which also informs answer engine optimization or AEO or GEO, some people still call it, but
Yeah.
uh, like that's a great example of how the tools letting me do something that probably wouldn't have otherwise really been thinking about. I didn't think about myself as a search engine marketing shop, but that's actually been a lot of our business in the last year or two,
Yeah.
interestingly, and I think partly because of AI.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up on the half hour mark, so maybe one last question,
Huh.
or who knows, maybe we'll roll into a couple. But if you had a magic wand right now,
I
and you
do
said,
actually, right here.
"All right, perfect,"
Okay. What are we gonna do with it?
that's awesome. The um, if you had the ability to just kind of say, "Hey, if I could, with the wave of this wand, get one thing or change one thing about my business that would really help me hit that next growth goal," what would that be?
And it would be magic wand, it would just be to have the infrastructure and the people to take off of my plate the things that I'm stuck doing as a solopreneur. Because I've kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm a good practitioner of marketing and I enjoy business development and sales very much. I love like that discipline. I'd like to think that I could grow a business, but I'm stuck as the one man band in the middle of this hive, and it's great, but it's like a lifestyle business. What I'd like to do is like to wave that magic wand and see that I could scale this operation. On one hand, the demand of a sales organization driving leads into the group. And on the supply side, a community of marketing professionals that are there to catch the ball. And that when a deal gets to a certain point, it triggers the database. And like it's like Upwork for marketing with white glove service. That's my vision for this business, Chris. And if
Yeah,
I could wave the magic wand and have that be built and sort of let me just be Tony Winders and show up and tap dance for clients and go out and network and do what I do best, I would be very happy about that. And so thank you for
yeah,
putting that possibility into my head because I haven't verbalized it in that way. And I'd love that to see that happen. So maybe
yeah.
there's
I mean, yeah, the nature of just kind of the world. I think we as entrepreneurs, we often kind of get stuck in our day to days, and we often do say, "Oh, I could just do that myself. I could do it faster," the sort of thing. And then the week's out, and you go, "Gosh, I really wanted to do those other 12 things," or I really wanted to accomplish something else.
Yeah, and I'm not a control freak at all. Like it's not like I'm hanging on for the sake of hanging on necessarily. I'm trying to be a better delegator. I think it's a matter of pricing right and getting to the profitability curve where you could actually hire that next right person. And I think it's like and that, I made a conscious decision not to have employees a couple of years ago. The structure changed. I kind of took a step back to go too forward. Not to say I would never have another full-time employee. In fact, I think that I will and I should. Maybe that's how we get there, but I've really enjoyed being the fractional that just brings the work to people, and when the work stops, there's not somebody sitting around on payroll where I have to fill their plate with something, or
Well,
so you
yeah,
I don't
and,
know if
and
you
not to bore all of the viewers who are outside of California, but I can tell you from experience, you really don't want to have employees in California. Our state doesn't make it easy.
No, they don't. They don't. And anyway, so we'll see where everything leads. I'm just having a good time, to be honest with you. I enjoy what I do. I'm helping the clients that I serve and I'm enjoying the people I work with. And life is short, so you better enjoy what you do. And if we can kind of leverage this to do bigger and more special, interesting things, then I'm open to those possibilities. But in the meantime, I'll be right here kind of on Zoom, making it happen, and hope that we'll have a chance to work together on something sometime, Chris.
Yeah, that would be great. Hey, I really enjoyed this. Why don't you let all the viewers and listeners know how they find the Winders Group, how they get in touch with you should they need any services.
I appreciate that. TheWindersGroup.com is a great place to dip in, and I'm easy to find. I'm Tony Winders on most platforms, and LinkedIn is probably my platform of choice and where I spend the most time. So please say hello, and I'm glad that we got a chance to connect through this project, and really appreciate you having me on today, Chris.
Yeah, this was great. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. We're recording on a Thursday, so have a fantastic weekend, and
All right.
I hope to speak to you again really soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.